Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Ma'am Evi Kasyulita MPD and all of my beloved friends. First of all, I'd like to thank Allah because of His blessing, so we can join in this video in healthy and happiness. Secondly, salawat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The lafaz Allahumma sholli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to present our material is about language planning. We from group 12. I'm the member of group. The first is myself, Sini Novitasari as a speaker 1 and moderator. And the second is Maya Sari as a speaker 2. And the last speaker is Olfa Intan Parawita. Okay, the next session is present by speaker 1, speaker 2, and last speaker. Speaker. Please, time is now we talk about language planning. Okay, language planning is an accepted, long-term, sustained, and conscious attempt of the part of government to alter the role of language in a society in order to solve communication problem. Okay, language planning. Language planning is a deliberate effort to influence. Deliberate means intentional, which means it was planned. It's not the coincidence, okay? It's an effort to influence function, structure, and equation of language within a speech community. What do we mean by function? Function, it is either. But when you say language is official or national or not official, the structure is related to spelling system. Okay, the influence of the structure, which means we might change some word or maybe the syntax in general. And when it comes to equation, it is the way this language is learned, which means education. Okay, so it is deliberate effort to influence function, structure, and equation of language within a speech community. Is very important within speech community. That is to say, it is usually a function of the government. Meaning the government is the one or is the organization which deals with language planning. Or if you want other influential bodies to decide which varieties name official and which one is not. So language planning makes not only decision but even usually language planning is done by the government or other influential bodies, because in that speech community or in that society or at a country, people cannot understand each other, so there will be some change in order to have what we call mutual intelligibility. Okay, so this notion of language planning is quite easy. And then now we will talk about the process of language planning. Okay, first we have selection stage. It is mostly a political decision, so politicians and people from the government select given language to be standard one. Usually that's the language that sounds prestigious. For instance, why we cannot put the Algerian dialect as a standard language in the country? Because the vocabulary that we use for you, that dialect is quite, let's say, it has different words from different language, so it's not something stable. Okay, you will find people speaking some word in Arabic and they also of French, you will use some word from Spanish and also they come back to other language. So maybe this is the reason why politicians cannot put such language or such dialect as a standard language of the country. So this is the idea of selection. It is a political decision. Politicians and bodies of the government select a given language to be a standard one as the meaning of selection. And then we have codification is a very important stage. It is given to show Sosiolinguistic in general. They are ones who will codify the selected language. Okay, we'll fix the grammar, elaborate the dictionaries, and limited to some expert in language. We have elaboration of function. Elaboration of function is quite simple. It's to digestion of which are the domains where to use that language. So whether at school or maybe marks or charges the media. So the function of the language has to take a digestion where to put the language. Exactly. Okay. We have acceptance. The acceptance stage is related to the agreement. It's a matter of agreement. If you want, so every speech community will finally accept the use of the language. So whenever the previous stage are taken or are done, on the only stage remaining is the acceptance by the speech community. Okay, and the next is the language planning program. Okay, the first is requires the compilation of facts, identification of problems, and the solving. The second is where the priorities are set, tactics planned, and the result expected. And the third, the plan is the introduce. And the last is because of the input, adjustment to the program, the preparation is also ongoing process at very point. Okay, thanks.
1. External purpose related to linguistic reform. Language as an object of linguistic study. Language is after as the means of communication. This definition is wrong, but neither is it completely correct because the definition more on the function language, namely language, is told not to explain the figure of the language itself. Such a definition, according to Kiro, a natural thing to happen because language is social. 2. Half language and related to change and writing structure or orthography and pronunciation. Orthography is language spelling system or language description in the form of writing or symbols. Orthography includes problems with spelling, concatenation, word breaking, and pronunciation or orthography describes the set of symbols, the rules for writing the symbol. 3. Linguistic purpose related to linguistic change, including extension or standardization. Language change is a process of change that occurs in linguistic elements over time. Language change over time is a self-described line of comparative linguistics. This gets centered about the process of language development from the beginning of existence to its current state, as well as the machine involved in it. The nature of the study of language change is the move from the end to the present. Okay, thank you.
Types of language planning. Category language planning: cause, method, goals, dimension, and scope. Category 1 is focused not only upon government but also private institutions and peasant groups. Language preparation may be performed by government. Innovative and conservative are approximately the same as the above mentioned policy and cultivation method and of next term. Purpose and status planning is discussed. Category 3 SAL for bilingual service. If a culture language can remain in place or if the presentation is a transitional state for eventual cultural assimilation and the loss of the first language. Category 3 shall be applied to a bilingual program. Scope refer to the language planning process might affect other language but is fundamentally different from that. In which two or more language from the very beginning are part of the planning process. Based on past studies, it can be seen the objective qualitative of language planning, which are carried out after determining the status of the national language and the official state language. Are development and development of the planned language as the national language, the official state language, and so on. The audience in society that is expect and ask the suggestion, profess, and studies.
Okay, guys, I think that's all for our present today. If you have any question or have any comment, please write in the column commenter. And thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.